be live and then active campaign.
I was just talking to Nick about how annoying it is to go live, even from Zoom. It's just like, oh my God, it's such a
I do not like going live from Zoom. Like, I know why people do it because there's faster interaction, but you can have 1,000 comments in your Zoom chat. Facebook has no idea. So it thinks your interview is essentially dead.
Oh, I never bring them into the chat, only on my masterminds. I always leave them on the Facebook page.
Gotcha. That's interesting. All right, good stuff. All right, so we're live now.
Hey, yo, what is going on?
So exciting. I don't think we have all right, so we have an agenda. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff, but you're based out of Florida, right? You're like 3 hours north of me.
Yes,
right?
sir. I am in Tampa. We're going to be meeting up in person next month, and we'll do something for this group and blow everyone's minds, the whole standard stuff.
It'll be so exciting. And then, oh my God, right? So you're in Florida. Nick Robinson's in Florida. JR's in Florida. Sem is in Florida. I'm in Florida. Becker, he's my video guy, he's in Florida. Hannah Gardner just moved to Florida. There's this weird scenario of people coming, right?
Don't forget to not call out Andrew, who was supposed to be in Florida and then did a 180.
Andrew's not in Florida anymore. You fucking moved to San Diego. Fucking crazy. He's going to watch this and be like, I can't believe you guys are talking shit about me. I'm like, yeah, because you left. You just
part
left.
Part of the game. Floridians go.
That's crazy. And I
called me out for saying that the Dolphins suck, and then you made a hilarious little sports retort.
Oh yeah, James Cluster. So in my background, I've never been involved in sports. I get it. It's just not me. And the only sports that I've done are Brazilian jiu-jitsu, which is not a team thing, right? And rock climbing, which again is not a team thing.
You used to work for the UFC, so I used to do jiu-jitsu a lot also.
Okay, there you go. So I did it for 18 months, and what I learned is that you can't hold too tight on jiu-jitsu, otherwise your knuckles flare up and it's hard to squeeze and stuff, right? And I remember the first day I did jiu-jitsu, I was like, I'm not going to lose. That person is 115 pounds. They're 18 years old. There's no way I'm going to lose. I'm 230 pounds. Oh, destroyed. And what nobody tells you is there's actually an age limit to your black belt. So you can be 18 years old, been doing jiu-jitsu for 8 years straight at the peak, and you're not a black belt because you have to be 21. So this idiot brain was like, I got this. There's no way this 115-pound little that's just immediately choked out. But it was super fun because at the time I was working for Intel, and my whole philosophy was if I can handle this guy for 20 minutes, I can deal with my senior vice president for 20 minutes.
That's the best.
And it really helped pull out willpower, I guess, or endurance or something like that, which is pretty fucking cool, I think. But we're not here to talk about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or anything like that. We're here to talk about you and your transition and your journey and all that stuff. And you used to work at the Miami Dolphins, which I had no idea about, right?
Yeah, I did.
So can you go into that for a little bit? And because now you ran an agency, now you coach. So how did that whole thing turn out?
Yeah. So one thing that I just want to make sure of, this story, the reason I shared it, it's not because I give a crap about where I came from in the transition. The reason is because I've been where you're at, the person watching right now, obviously you, Jeff, too, but the person that's watching, I understand the obstacles, the frustration, the thousands of information overload, all the courses, the million mentors, the gurus. Where do you start? Is it LinkedIn? Do I do ads? Do I niche? All the problems that you've had, I've gone through all of them. And I want to express kind of how my humble beginnings have led to this, and just the idea that you can get there. You can get there as long as you work your butt off. Ding, ding, ding. I already did at least one butt joke.
Well, it's the butt group, right? Yeah.
But, exactly. So we're going to crush this. So here's the thing, guys. When I started, I actually started by literally happenstance. I was working for the Miami Dolphins and also the UFC. And essentially at one of these local UFC events, I saw this person on a Twitter application that I had never seen before called TweetDeck. And I asked him about it, and then he said words that I never heard. They escaped his mouth. Social media manager. What? What is that? Right. What does that even mean? He's telling me he was getting paid $1,000 a month to write for them every day, one post a day. I was like, what the hell? At the time, consider I was writing about 10 articles per day, about 5 for the UFC, 5 for the Dolphins, making about $1 per article.
Well, let's before that, how did you end up getting your journalist job? Did you graduate from school and then you got that first gig, or how did that work? And then
I don't know if you actually know how, because if you don't, then you set it up really well. But I'll explain. So this is my media pass, which is definitely one of my prized possessions. Real quick, my parents and family we're huge Dolphins fans, huge sports fans. It was a dream of mine to be like a sportscaster and be part of the Dolphins organization when I was a kid. So anyways, I went to school to be a psychologist. Long story short, it didn't work out. We could take hours on that alone. Just reality was, I'm a very empathetic and person, and my thoughts of what it would be like versus what it really was when I went into the field were really different. Definitely shell-shocked for sure. One of the scariest moments of my life, being 19, graduating from school and feeling like I'm back at square one, like, wow, I don't know what to do. So my natural thought was to go back into sports. That's what I do. That's what I know. It's a hobby of mine. So I just called the Dolphins organization literally 60 days in a row, every single day until the person at the front desk got tired of telling me no and finally patched me through. So this is funny. I kept getting every single day the secretary for Jason Jenkins, who was the PR director and the person that allows people to be media. So I just kept calling and kept calling and kept calling and kept calling 60 days in a row, 2 months in a row. She's just like, oh, Jason's at lunch. Jason's walking his dog. Jason's in a meeting, like everything in the world. And then I remember the day that she's like, yeah, Jason's available actually. And she like knew me at this point. I was like, hey, Alex, Jason's available. and I'm like, oh, great. And then we hear this ringtone, that elevator, like music, hold music. And I'm like, oh, shit, I've been doing this, waiting for this call for 2 months. I have zero idea what I'm going to say. Oh God, I've just been so prepared to get no's that I just forgot. So he gets on the phone, I'm stumbling my words. Jason, I'm a fan of the sport. And also I'm a journalist for the fan side at a Sports Illustrated affiliate. And I wanted to know if I could be credentialed on Sunday for the game and yada, yada. Yeah, you're in. We put you down on the list. See you there. Boop, boop, ding. 20-second conversation. That was it. And then I achieved a goal that I wanted to have since I was, I don't know, 5. It was unbelievable. It was honestly like, it blew my mind. My parents, and I'm sure you've heard it a million times, you could do whatever you want if you put your mind to it. And I was so fucking tired of hearing that garbage, especially after going to school and being like, I want to be a psychologist. I want to be an MD, or not a PhD rather. I want to be like helping people. And then it just kind of crumbled in front of me like that. I also, just side note, when I was really, really little, I wanted to be an astronaut, like really bad. The truth is, Jeff, no matter how much I put into that, I could have never been an astronaut. I'm not an engineer guy. So I think it was pissing me off to like hear that consistently, especially in that time of your life where you don't know what the hell you're doing. So that conversion to I can make this happen, like just by tenacity, really changed me like as a human being, and allowed me to get way more focused on just being tenacious as hell. Like I'll never let someone stop me. And that's still who I am today, just extremely tenacious. Like I won't be stopped or denied from what I want or need, if it really matters to me, which is what I'm always clarifying with people. Like if it really matters to you and you're listening to this right now, you'll resonate. But if it doesn't really matter to you and you're just trying to make some money, stop fucking doing this business. Because you're not going to succeed. You make a couple $1,000 from listening to Jeff or me or buying a course, but it's never going to be a business. You're never going to be happy. You're never going to feel satisfied because you don't want it. I wanted this. I wanted this so bad that I was willing to get rejected literally 60 times. I knew I was willing to get told no more times than they were willing to tell me no. When you have that passion and desire, it's very, very hard to be defeated. And that's really where it came down to.
Gotcha. So you graduate degree in psychology. You're like, this ain't gonna work. You go back to like your second goal, which is to somewhat be associated with the Dolphins. You have like a journalism background and you worked for things I guess were associated with Sports Illustrated. You called 60 times, which I guess ties into like how you're prospecting on demand, right? You realize like it's just a continued effort over time will get you the result that you want, right?
That was kind of the natural thing. Here's the unique mechanism. It's so funny now in retrospect, by the way, how much you can learn. And I think it's valuable for everyone to just kind of understand this theory of like people that have ever made any money or any sort of semblance of what they determine to be success. Like I would consider that I've had a lot of success. Like I've helped 115 people scale to 6 figures, 15 people scale to 7 figures. I have 2 6-figure businesses. I have people that are commenting on your post saying like, he's the real deal. Like, oh, that's great. I feel happy. That makes me happy.
That's cool, right?
I appreciate that. And I know you appreciate that, right? We're cut from the same cloth, Jeff. But it's like, it's really interesting to understand like how important reflection is. I really disregarded reflection for a long time because my earlier life was painful, and we might get into that here today and just be really real and share. But when I reflect now back on how much I really didn't enjoy the sports career, like I was bushy-eyed, bright-eyed, and bushy-tailed, right? Like coming in, like love sports, I'm so excited about this, and then realizing like it's meaningless. Like sports is just a hobby. Like I know you don't resonate with sports, right? So like when you see someone talking about sports, it's just that's a hobby. It doesn't really mean anything. It's not effective. It's not going to help someone's family. It's not going to make a difference. And that was really weighing on me a lot when I was starting to do it. On top of not making any money, I think if I made some money, may have changed it a little bit. I was averaging like $500 a month. It was crazy bad, like really, really bad. So I would go through this process, and basically what happened was it wasn't necessarily prospecting that I got used to. What I got used to, let me dial that back. What I got used to for prospecting was I was the one that had to get the interviews, specifically in the UFC. Miami Dolphins allowed certain reporters to speak to certain people, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But in the UFC, like they don't give you anything. You're completely a contractor, 100%. And my team at Sports Illustrated couldn't give two shits whether or not they got me interviews. Maybe once every 3 months, I had to get the interviews. So I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, I'm bombarding these people like, give me the time, give me the time. That was the beginning of my prospecting for sure. And then from that, in sales, this was like the most valuable thing I learned. I was doing interviews and I could hear in these people's voices, their interviews were just like, oh my God, dude, you're so shitty. Like these questions suck. I've answered this question 60 times today. Right. But it's their job to be professional and not be like that. Yeah. So when I'm like, how are you preparing for the fight? Like blah, blah, blah. Like they don't give a shit. So I was doing it because I was honestly young and I was just copying what other people did, you know, like I was reading articles and just being like, oh, that's a good question. So I started listening back. And transcribing, if you've had to do it at any point in your career, Jeff, is the worst thing in the world. Like listening to it and like writing for cringe, of course, like listening to yourself is just terrible. And then listening to them like ask a shitty question is like, oh God, so bad. So I actually learned to be better at sales by listening to these calls and then learning that I need to say something different. And it changed pretty quickly. I started to go into the psychology mode because I'm really interested in psychology and sports psychology. So I went into it and I started asking questions in psychology, like, hey, like you're friends with this person who you're going to fight. What does that mean to you? Hey, like we're playing up against this team. You went to college with this guy. Like, what is that? What's that psychology behind it? These are questions not anyone else is asking. And now I'm starting to get responses like, wow, that's an insightful question. Wow, you did your research. Let me think about that. Like sparking ingenuity. That then led to requests from the UFC, from Reebok, from Wheaties, from the Miami Dolphins, AOL, Yahoo, these big outlets and media companies asking me to do interviews. I got free t-shirts, free clothes, signed merchandise, free shoes, just from me changing my mindset on, not changing my mindset, but changing the process of my questions. Yeah. That was like the beginning of my model of learning how to do sales efficiently and also prospecting. So I think that's really what I learned from the conversion of like doing sports interviews and writing into building a business. It was pretty unique.
So I did the same exact process for each pitch that I did. I'd end the pitch, whether I win it or lost it or got paid or didn't. I'd go back, I'd John Madden myself. How was I standing? How did I act? The questions that I asked, what do I wish that I did? That's how I built out my onboarding docs. Like the 15 questions that you ask before, like how you get permission to pitch. It was like, oh God, I should have asked him how many leads you generated. I can't believe my campaign is bombing. I thought it was going to be great. Went back, added that. So after like the 5th or 6th pitch, they started to get better over time. No doubt. Is like the same exact thing. Like I just call John Madding myself or self audits or something like that. But let's go back. Let's rerun the tape. You end up getting a job, right? Freelancing gig with the Dolphins, your first big shot, ends up not being anything close to what you expect whatsoever. You're like, oh my God, I'm working with kind of associated with the Dolphins and I'm getting paid nothing. I have none of the perks. This isn't working out. I'm doing the same thing with the UFC. And then you find somebody that has a tweet deck or something like that.
So Jeff, I got to say the street cred though was high, right? Like all my friends, like, yo, you're limited access media. What? Unbelievable. This was a big deal for me. Like that was a fucking huge thing. Not that I made $1 per article, obviously, but the rest of it was like, it was cool. But yeah, what happened was this is probably like a year into the model. At that time, I really knew nothing about online advertising. I think the only thing at that time, and you'll laugh, the only thing at that time that I was ever seeing was those Tai Lopez ads on YouTube.
Welcome to the internet marketing world.
Right? They were so prevalent at that time. The classic one, the garage one. And I kept seeing that, but it didn't resonate. I thought Ty was such a douchebag in the video. I'm like, I don't like this guy already. Like, fuck that dude. I'm not interested in this. I don't want the car. I don't read a lot of books. So now I look like an asshole and compared to you. That was this whole thing. So I I went to this event. This guy was using a Twitter application I'd never seen. He spelled out kind of social media management. And the logical thing for me to do was I need to make more money because I want to get married. I had my girlfriend that I met in high school that I went to college with that was doing the waitress job, who's now my wife, and my business partner, Shira Shlinsky, master of organization. We could talk about that later. But basically went from that. And my next door neighbor at the time was an attorney. And he essentially became my first client. I asked him and he told me like he would be fine with me posting for him on Facebook once a month. Then from that, this is really where everything exploded. From that, what ended up happening was I was still in college, right? So I was thinking about psychology, but I knew that that probably wasn't going to be right because I did an internship, yada, yada, yada. Even though I finished with the degree, I still wanted to make money. So I was actually media while I was still in college, even though I thought that it wasn't going to be the right fit. And now I wanted some other opportunity long-term for the career. So basically what ended up happening was when I went back to Orlando, I was down south for a vacation and for this event in the Hard Rock Stadium in Fort Lauderdale. I don't know if you've been there. So from that, I went back to school and then I asked Lloyd, my next door neighbor, who's the attorney, and this is how I transitioned from one client to 10 in literally 30 days. He was like, I asked him, do you have any people or friends or attorneys that you went to law school with that you're still connected with to this day in Orlando? He's like, I do actually. It was my roommate, Rick Martindale. So he connected me with Rick, went into his office, closed that client for $1,500, just posting for him and doing newsletters. Mm-hmm. Then I asked Rick. Then Lloyd came back to me and said, Rick was so impressed with you after our first call. Now that I'm comfortable with you and Rick's comfortable with you, I want to send you over to my whole legal like community. He sends me over like 20 leads. I have all these sales calls, no idea what the fuck I'm doing. I'm pretty good at interviews, so I'm pretty good at sales naturally. Yeah. All I'm knowing that I'm selling is newsletters and Facebook posts. I did not understand the importance of indispensability or like being needed or like revenue bottom lines. I just understood that I had an offer that maybe they wanted and I could sell it. Yeah. And I sold 10 of those like basically 20 leads. Beautiful. And I went from $500 to like $10,000, $12,000. Unfortunately, I lost all of them within 90 days because I had no fucking clue what I was doing. And that was the beginning for me. That was like, if I can do this with really no underlying skill or investment whatsoever, I didn't need no investment, nothing. So just my intuition, then I could get there.
So for people watching, like your first big shot was just asking your neighbor, right? That guy was like, yeah, I'll give you a shot. And then he gave you a second shot, which is doing business for my friend. Once the two of them were kosher with you, they're like, all right, he's not crazy. It's not like some scam. He opened up the floodgates, right? What were those conversations like? Were you just like, hey, my name is Alex. I want you to pay me money. Did you have to like, did you know that you had to like break their thinking, like newsletters, the best thing in the world?
No, I really didn't understand at all frameworks at all. All I knew was interviews. So I was really used to talking to people and people that are way above who I was at the time, right? Like head coaches in the NFL, players in the NFL, assistants, UFC fighters, UFC champions, people that work at Reebok, people that work at Yahoo, Sports Illustrated. I'm still in college. Like I was just used to it. So I didn't have any fear going in at all, honestly.
Gotcha. So half of them say yes. Yes. And then within 3 months, in 90 days, you went from 0 to 10 grand back to 0.
Basically, yeah, maybe more like 120 or so, maybe, but that's essentially what happened.
That is like the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah, so it sucked. It was definitely shitty. I think we only retained in the second month 5 of them, half of them, because they just didn't see the value. They were paying me anywhere from $1,000 or $1,500. I also didn't understand the importance of having the same offer. So like they communicate with each other. He's like, well, he charged me this and he charged me that. That was stupid. Didn't think about that. And also I felt so schemy. It wasn't my goal to be schemy. It was just in the conversation. I had never done sales like that before. So it was just natural that I would switch it up and see what I can get paid. But then I realized that that's such a dick thing. Because if I was the lawyer and found out that the other guy's doing the same thing at a lower price, I'd for sure cut ties, no doubt. So these were just required processes of failing. Like I just messed up, but I didn't beat myself up over it too much at the time, just because I was amazed at all that in a span of a year, I was a Miami Dolphins media member, UFC media member, and also made $10,000 while I'm in college. I mean, that's crazy. Honestly, I couldn't even fathom it.
So at what point did you realize that you had to make the fundamental change? Because like when we've talked earlier, I guess earlier in the interview, you're like, you're failing forward. You're like, oh my God, this is going to work. Let's do it. And then you're like, all right, I hit it. I made it big and I like, collapsed all the way down. So was there something in that journey where you're like, all right, I need to change my approach? Or did you not have that like self-reflection and you're like, I got to keep grinding and hustling and all that stuff?
Yeah, the grinding and hustling was like 2 years long for sure.
I hate that so much.
Super frustrating because like I couldn't put the framework together. It's what I help people do with now, which is like I lacked the critical puzzle pieces necessary to understand what this took, even though it was blatantly obvious to anyone that had any experience. It just wasn't for me because I was ignorant to it. And on top of that, I was running without a goal in mind. And this is one of like my most critically important things that I coach on, which is the idea of having a finish line. Like people come to me and they're like, I want to be successful. What does that mean? Success to Jeff Miller, success to Alex Schlinsky, success to you could be, and probably is, drastically different and completely unique. So I'm going to tell you a really important story of my life that will reflect on this very critically. And I didn't get this, unfortunately, until I was really involved after school, which I'll break down. But when I was younger, my dad wasn't the most wealthy. Like my parents weren't the most wealthy. We lived in a pretty decent middle-class neighborhood. But a lot of my friends' parents were doctors, attorneys. They had the two-story houses, the nicer cars consistently. And I remember one time walking with my dad, and I remember so vividly. It's weird how some of these flashlight memories you remember so vividly. I asked my dad, like maybe 10 or 11 years old, Dad, why are you not as successful as some of these other friends? And such a disrespectful and rude question to ask, but it wasn't in that manner, right? In retrospect, I honestly feel bad about it. Like even referencing it, that I would say something because I know, of course, yeah, you think I don't want to fucking do better? Like obviously I'm trying, fuck. But he didn't say that. He stopped me. And I remember this clearly. He stopped us walking, put his hands on my shoulder, and he said, in my eyes, looked directly in me. And he said, Alex, I'm the most successful person in the world. I was like, what the fuck? Is my dad out of his mind? Like, what pill did you take today? What's going on here? And I just couldn't fathom the concept he was bringing to the table until he said this. He said, I'm the most successful person in the world because I have a wife that loves me. Right. I'm the most successful person in the world because I have a community that cares about me. Yeah. I'm the most successful person in the world because my kids love me and care about me. I'm the most successful person in the world because I do a job that impacts people. That changed everything. It changed everything that I ever thought of. That's why I went to school to be a psychologist. I was very fascinated with empathy and psychology, and helping people was something I was always intrigued by. My mom was someone that would always like help the panhandlers on the street. I would just be naturally just like that. That's just who I was. That's why I love doing interviews. I think that's reason why, Jeff, you're very similar to me, but that's why people resonate with us, because we're people of empathy and just truly like, we want to help you. Does that mean that Jeff and I don't have a business to run? Does that mean that Jeff and I don't want to make money or profit? No, but there's nothing wrong with that. We, at the core of it, and I might be speaking for you, but I think this is fair. We just truly want to help people. And that's why we resonate together, and that's why people resonate with us. And I think that's ultimately where it began for me that day when my dad expressed to me what success really meant.
So was it like at that point you realized that you need like a goal to establish what like success was? Or is that when you realized that like money isn't the end goal, or like, or
that was what it was. I think I realized the concept of success that I had measured at 10 years old. What success was is like finances and riches and popularity, when it's not. It's determined significantly by the person that's at hold. Unfortunately, I did not utilize my dad's wisdom until after I graduated. Because while I was graduating, it was like being on the path in school felt like that's what I was supposed to do. When in retrospect, obviously I wish I didn't, but it is what it is. And I really wanted to be a psychologist. So I'll just break this down really briefly. But I went to school to become a psychologist, specifically a criminal psychologist. I'm a Jew. So when I was growing up, I obviously learned a lot about the Holocaust. And as a person of empathy, I just did not understand how like Hitler could have created like this fervor. I just didn't understand of this hatred. I could not fathom it. It just didn't make sense to me. And I was fascinated by it. So I used to watch true crime documentaries, Making a Murderer, all that stuff before it came out. Yep. And I was fascinated, and I did those crazy, weird classes like sociology of murder and very unique classes. And then the concept of the idea was fascinating to me. And then I was put into it in real life and an internship while I was in school. And I went to like this battered woman's home, and it was like, wow, okay, this is real life. This is not like a joke. And then from that moment, it was just, that's not me. I cannot do this.
Gotcha.
And it was honestly heartbreaking. It broke my heart. It literally broke me in half because I thought I spent so much of my effort and time from, 15 years old to like 20, basically to 19. This is what I really thought I was going to do. I really thought it. And I thought it was super important, and it is. And it was gone now. So then the natural thing was sports.
Gotcha. No, that makes total sense, right? So,
Yeah.
so you go from 0 to 10K back to 0, right? Like what you thought was wonderfully successful. You're gonna have the house and the wife and the kids. You're going back and realize it's not about the money. Trying to put all these dots together, and you end up going back to 10K. I think in 90 days. What is that, like the 6-step system or something like that we're talking about in the bullet points? Is that like the framework that you end up developing, you learned from, or what's the thought process behind that?
So here's kind of what ended up happening. So when I left school, I thought it was natural for me to start building an agency. So I invested in some courses. I think Dave Rogenmoser was the first one. I think that's maybe how we met also for the first time.
Oh, cool. That's the proof guy.
That was proof guy. So he used to have this course called 6K Success. And just frankly, just being honest, I watched the video the first time. I'm like, I could do that.
Yeah.
I could do those videos for sure. But I'm not an imposter. So I had to be successful. I knew I already made money, but I didn't keep it. So I feel like it would be bullshit to make something that was like, here's how I made money and then lost it all.
You mean you can't go 0 to 10K in 30 days and then launch a course immediately after that? What?
Oh God. Unfortunately, there are people that do that. So basically what I did was I hired Reach Local, which was the white label marketing agency for me, because I recognized quite quickly that I didn't want to do ads. It's not my skill. It's not my brain work. That's not how I am. My skill is tenacity, prospecting, and I was really getting good at sales. Very, very good with psychology, understanding how people thought. I just was getting very, very good at it. And I just wanted to get a lot of opportunities in and focus on attorneys. So I went back to the original attorneys, reestablished the offer and expressed, listen, I changed everything and I'm paying this out of my own pocket for you. I took a loan out for my uncle and I actually paid for ads. I'm not suggesting this. Please understand. Jeff is asking me my story. This is not what I'm coaching. I'm telling you what happened. It's not what I'm telling you to do. Please. I took a loan out from my uncle. He was very kind enough to share it with me, $10,000. And I went back to about 5 of those clients, specifically the first client, Lloyd, second client, Rick, because they put their word out there and I kind of screwed him. And I talked to them about PPC advertising, which Reach Local helped me with. And we crushed it.
Really?
Crushed it in the first month. Absolutely killed it for them. They made like $100,000. It was insane. Beautiful. They started paying me from there. This is why, Jeff, by the way, there's so many people out there like does this like free trial model. I should have just stood my ground and expressed to them that I was wrong and had them pay me. But whatever, long story short, I got the result that I wanted anyway. So that's fine. Yeah. That's why I don't tell people not to do the free trial. It's just I strongly advised against it. That's just my opinion again. It's not a black or white model here. So did that, got success. And then all I did from that moment on was just surefire my prospecting. I did a lot of LinkedIn prospecting, and then I started building out my framework. And this is where the 5 steps came in. It wasn't the 5 steps for scaling the agency. It was the 5 steps for how I actually prospect. And this really became the key for me to having a real framework. And Jeff, I showed you this when I did my call with Andrew, and you were like, whoa. Mm-hmm. Like the frameworks were the key for me. So if we're talking about one like very, very just important moment in my career, was just identifying that everything in life and in business is completely framed in a specific way for an outcome to occur. And that's what I was looking for. So I started building these frames. Like logically think about it, guys, that you're watching. The reason why you watch it is because Jeff has framed this in a way that makes it watchable, where it's like, here's this model that we're going to talk about, and then this bullet point, and then this. Yep. From my end, what you guys don't even see, and I was super impressed by this. I told you this, Jeff. He's got like a model of these things, like here's 5 videos you need to watch, and here's these bullet points you need to give me. Because Jeff understands the importance of the framework. Otherwise, we come on here and sure, if Jeff doesn't have the framework, can we shoot the shit for an hour, 2 hours and share value? Of course. But is it as valuable as it could be? Is it maximizing time? Is it really decreasing opportunity costs? No. So frames are really the critical piece for me in everything in business. So what I identified were the 5 key stages for prospecting that I worked on and developed, and then allowed this to become my baseline for success in my perfect prospecting system, Prospecting in a Box, scaling my Sky Social Media agency to $500,000 recurring revenue. Not true. Let me rephrase that. $5,000 recurring revenue over a year. Gotcha. Let me clarify. not a month. God, no, that would be amazing. But no, I wasn't really interested in that. My thought was get to 500,000, make about half of that as profit, which is essentially where we're at, maybe 225, and then focus on doing what I do best, which is this: coaching, mentoring, frameworks, processes, organization, helping people decrease opportunity costs and making a huge difference. And that's what I was all about. So the 5 stages are as follows: the offer itself. Now, the offer in my training and understanding this is I have 2 different offers in prospecting. We're separating a prospecting offer from a sales offer. The sales offer is the offer that you make to make a sale, to get a converted prospect to a client on recurring revenue. My prospecting offers are 2 things: prospecting offer itself, which is an offer that's made to a client or a lead, to get them on a call. For example, a marketing audit, an interview, a competitors analysis, a snapshot report, an ads audit, any of those types of things. Hey, I will provide that to you if you get on a call with me. Very valuable. Then a nurture offer. A nurture offer, instead of a prospecting offer, which some might think, and maybe Jeff, this is your thought, well, maybe that's jumping the gun. Like, I don't even know who the hell you are and you're offering me this. It's a question to spark a conversation. So, for example, like, hey, can I show you a strategy to generate 30 to 50 qualified students every month on autopilot? Or, hey, are you at capacity this month? Or, hey, do you run this boxing gym using any ads? Questions to spark conversation. So that's stage number 1. Any questions or comments that I can answer on that?
So here's what's crazy. So like, as you're saying that, I've unknowingly been using it, but I've never thought of it this way. So like, all 100%. My ads that have ever worked always start off with a sick and tired line. And you can't say sick and tired. So it's always, have you always wanted, always wondering, couldn't you live without, or could you live without? Like, those 3 things. That's a nurturing offer, right? And that's different than a prospecting offer. So like, the way I get people into my office is I go, I say, hi, I'm Ingrid, and all that stuff. And then they bitch about problems with Facebook. I say, I can show you a business just like yours that got 30 customer opportunities in a month. Do you want to see that? That's the prospecting offer, right? Like, that's exactly what that is. That is not what I do to get them to pay me money, though. Getting them to pay me money is just describing my wallet out, ready to buy button to see customer campaign. So it's like, I've never heard of it like that before, ever.
This is why frames, I feel, are so critically important. And like, one of the pieces of value to understand is most people have been using this frame, but never understood it for years. And the most common one was probably in the legal industry or medical industry. And that was free consult, right? That's the most common. Thus now is completely dead in the water. Jeff, you and I cannot run ads with free consult. It will not work. No one will be interested. Prospecting audit, system assessment, sales role playing. Wow, I'm interested in all of those. I've tested all of those. I've worked all of those. They all work. Some of them are easier than to convert to sales. Some are harder. You might notice that I changed my offers because I'm optimizing and reflecting, like we're talking about here in this conversation. So that's number 1, offer. Number 2 is compiling leads. Now, obviously, this is absolutely critical, but I think this is where most people just completely drop the ball. You're a lead generation company and you don't know how to compile your own leads. Get the fuck out of here. Stop. You're going to have imposter syndrome like out of the wazoo. You'll never be able to sell unless you're not in integrity. And I'm pretty confident that everyone watching this video is in integrity, because it sounds sometimes like it might say isn't, but it's not. Is in integrity, right? So when Jeff and I are selling, we sell with confidence because we know the result's going to happen. The win for Jeff and I, again, speaking for you, but I feel confident in this, is not just getting paid. That's great. We're happy about it. We love it when someone buys our course or our mentorship. But the real victory is getting the result. It's like, I closed the deal, Jeff, or I closed the deal, Alex, got to 10K. You're like, fuck yeah, right? We have a shared client, Sarah Stoner, right? She hit 10K. Both of us were thrilled for her. That's what it's about, right? She paid us both. Awesome. We're thrilled about that. But the better result is her getting the result, because that's what we want for you. We want you to achieve the result. If you don't feel that way with your clients, stop doing this business, because you would never want to buy from someone like us if we're not caring about your result. It comes down to really feeling confident in compiling leads, because you need to have good quality leads for outreach. My big thought process in prospecting is outreaching to less people more times, creating this billboard effect. And the less people means they have to be the right people. So compiling them from like D7 or scope leads is just not going to be enough. You need to go to a VA and have them enrich that lead and get all the information you can, and then qualify them in a certain way, and then start reaching out that way. Most people want to do this. That's the reality.
So I had a client, an orthopedist, CEO, surgeon, MD, MBA, like all the way at top of everything, right? And CEO, surgeon, MD, MBA. And he hired me to get him, he was paying me $4K a month. Like, that was the highest dollar package I ever sold. And we generated him like 30 customer opportunities in 30 days. And what's crazy is that like we were texting him and we were texting the front desk and everybody was doing their job, but they really weren't. And Sharon, if like anyone was taking my course, like I bitch about Sharon, she's always the front desk lady that accidentally lies or purposefully lies that she called back the leads, do a sneaky survey, and then she doesn't, right?
Yeah.
And at the end of the first month, the CEO surgeon, MD, MBA, sends me like this passive aggressive threatening voicemail. Like,
oh,
Jeff,
fuck that.
You said you were going to get me 30. I've only gotten 2 responses. What is this going on? I have to like reconsider all of this. And here's what's crazy. Because I was compiling my leads, I sent him a Loom video that said, hey, Mr. Johnson, we didn't send you 2. In fact, we sent more than 30. We sent 48 your way. But as it turns out, Sharon wasn't calling anybody back. Here's proof. Ding, 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 all the way down. The confidence that I get is rarely from like this Tony Robbins ephemeral, build it from the inside so you feel good type thing. It's confidence in having this big old database of lists that says, this is what I did. And it's proof. It's literally like, hey, I called them while you were bitching me out and I got 5 people on the phone on a recorded line saying Sharon didn't call me back. I sent out 16 other sneaky surveys and text messages saying, hey, we're still waiting for our callback. And in fact, 3 people came in, but she didn't write it down on the list. That's where the confidence comes from. And it's all from compiling leads. So like, I've never like heard it like shared that way before. I just call it like the wallet out campaign. But yeah, so for people who are watching this, that always like, how is Jeff and Alex like so confident? We got a big ass list of results. And every time our campaigns generate a lead, it goes onto that Google sheet automatically, ding, 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 all the way down. And you have a whole series of like automations that fire off because of it. So that's kind of what you're talking about, right?
100%. Just having very good confidence in being able to bring on the right people rather than just reaching out to everyone. It just doesn't help. I do want to touch on one thing before I continue with the 5, because I think this is an extremely valuable piece that not enough people talk about. You just expressed, Jeff, the real underlying core problem with digital marketing. Most people, Jeff, want to solve the leads issue because that's what most businesses believe they have.
Yep.
The real problem is they don't have a leads issue. They have an entire prospecting and sales issue.
Yep.
Meaning they've legitimately no idea how to not only get the lead, but then what to do with the lead to convert them to a client. And what happens is there's been this massive, massive mistrust created and also a huge difference of understanding from the person selling you and the actual client, like this jerk off doctor. And basically what the doctor's hearing is, we're going to help you sell more. And what you're selling to them is, we're going to get you more leads. Leads is not what they actually want. They want more business. So rather than fighting for the bottom of the barrel, trying to do $500, $1,000, $1,500 lead generation campaigns, why not take one more step further and actually develop a real solution, just like Jeff's talking about? Because I bet the first thing he thought of was, wait, if Sharon's not doing her job, maybe I should actually develop a system that makes the follow-up easier. And now I can increase my price by 3 times. This is how I was successful in scaling my company with Reach Local. So Reach Local actually gave me this idea, honestly, when I started. The first thing they said was like, they don't want leads, they want more cases. And they were so deliberate in that with personal injury. And they were like, no, they want more cases. It's like, shit, you're so right. They don't want more leads. In fact, they despise more leads, because more leads means not opportunity, because they're not sales. They think in that terminology, but they don't know how to handle it. So I teamed up with Practice Panther, which is a CRM that's made only for attorneys, and we baked it into our offer. So not only are we providing a marketing solution, we're providing a productivity solution and saving you opportunity costs. We're not only making you money, we're saving you time. We're growing your practice. We're making everyone on your team more efficient. Why do you think I'm capable of charging $5,000 to $10,000 for my service when everyone, Jeff, and you know this, they're fighting for the bottom of the barrel at $1,000, $1,250 because they're doing an SEO service or a Facebook leads ad that's never going to work. It's just never going to work. And I think it's important to at least bring that up.
Cool. All right. So first one was the offer, prospecting, nurturing, closing, right? The second was compiling leads. There's like, I think a third or a fourth one or something like that, right?
There's 5 stages here in prospecting. The third would be outreach process and message sequence. So again, like I said, my theory behind this is actually reaching out to people on multiple different platforms. I call this carpet bombing. The idea behind this is just, you don't know where people are allocating their time. And also, if they see you in multiple different areas, it becomes this billboard effect of they consistently see you and you actually are acting in that old adage of marketing, like you need to see them 5 to 7 times before you buy. Really valuable. In fact, it's critically important. So I really recommend it. Some really good ones right now, just to drop some nuggets here. Instagram is on fire for my clients right now. In terms of Instagram DMs, it is crazy right now. Like, people are getting ridiculous amount of responses. Also, Facebook personal pages. Don't be freaking afraid to friend those people.
Yeah.
They will answer you, and then you'll get them right away. So you
Yeah.
want to talk about gatekeepers? Find the damn person on Facebook. They probably have a profile. I think my mom is like the only person in the world that doesn't have Facebook. So it's pretty common to be able to find them. But you want to create kind of this carpet bomb approach that I do. So I actually do LinkedIn, email, warm calls, slide broadcast, voicemail drops, text messages, Instagram DM, and I don't know if I said LinkedIn already, but if I didn't, LinkedIn, and then contact us pages on websites. Probably 6 to 8 places that we reach out to them. Does that mean you get some people that are like, stop messaging me? Yeah, but who gives a shit? That's okay.
That's fine.
The alternative is, yes, oh, thank you, I forgot about this. Let's talk. Most people, and I don't know if this is what you've seen, Jeff, confirm with me, but we have interesting insight here because we're on the back end and kind of see a multitude of this.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people that message in like 1 or 2 places, maybe multiple times. Like, hey, did you see this? Hey, did you see this? Hey, did you see this on LinkedIn or email or even cold calling? And they're not really reaching out to a lot of other places. And so they feel like they're being ignored. The reality is that that person's not really necessarily ignoring you as much as they're just not even there.
Yeah.
They just don't even see it. Do you see that too? Like just too many people reaching out to one individual source?
So I never use LinkedIn. It's just not my thing, right? And I paid somebody to LinkedIn, whatever. Who cares, right? And so I go on LinkedIn, I've got like 15 messages of people that messaged twice, and that was it. And I'm like, you know what? I would be interested in these 2 or 3 things, but shit, that was 2 months ago, right?
Yeah,
a conversation.
Anywhere else. If they messaged you anywhere else, they would have caught you.
Meanwhile, I look at my Facebook DMs all day long, and I respond to random people like, yeah, what's up? Like, tell me what you're trying to sell me. I'm okay with like listening and all that stuff. And so like, if all these people like on LinkedIn just were communicating the way I was communicating on the platform that I was using, that would have been the end of it. So I'm like the Facebook guy, right? So I'm not going to be like talking about LinkedIn. So I use Facebook. There's a whole boatload of people that are email first. There's an even more boatload of people that aren't even checking their text messages because too many group chats, but they're really into voicemail. You have to meet your customers where they are. So I do the same exact thing. And there's always a shit rate of 10%. No matter what, 10% of people are going to be angry. But that's okay because you're looking for that middle 80% of people that were like, I was going to buy, but I forgot.
What's going to happen anyways? People get so worked up over it, Jeff. They're like, what if they say no? Okay, yeah, what if you continue and go to the next person and then forget about it like tomorrow?
Yeah.
Like, what are they going to do? They're going to bust down your door? Like, they're going to forget about it also. People just like being pissed. Welcome to the fucking world. You hear? Like, do you see the world that we're living in? People like to be pissed over nothing. They like make molehills or anthills into mountains. Like this is what we do. Like that's
making
what
mountains out of molehills. Yeah.
Yeah. Couldn't get that one out.
I've got like a list of analogies. Like 1 out of like 5 or 6 is like, that's a good analogy, right? So I've got like a big ass list and like and all that stuff. But yeah, so
I'm huge into analogies also.
They're super fun, right? Like what is it, like Korean barbecue, just barbecue in front of you, and I'm like, that sounds so smart. So like I don't know why. I was with Cruzy and he's like, that's retarded. I was like, no, it's genius. You don't understand.
So smart. This is what I'm talking about, because you have the same mind as I do in terms of frames, like putting them together. I bet you did the same thing when you were doing tests back in the day, like kind of creating like acronyms and putting them so you remember it in a unique mechanism. And then the reality is most people really resonate with it, which is why I think both of our trainings are so well regarded, because that's how we're training in these frameworks rather than a bunch of random pieces, which I think makes it better.
So you talked about like messaging, and the analogy, I guess, is like communicate the way your future clients and customers are already communicating. So if like they're into text message, voicemails, LinkedIn, and you don't know, so you probably should just like do a little bit of everything and see what sticks, right? And then, make that part of your like marketing program, right?
So basically my model in terms of the outreach and process sequence, so you have clarity on this, is basically 12 to 15 days, starting off with either a nurture or prospecting offer, and then moving into education, proof, overcoming objections before they even say them, and then cheeky like messaging about if they've like fallen and can't get up because you haven't answered and that kind of stuff. And then just a close your account and feedback email. I think a lot of people miss this. And if you take one thing from this video and you do what I'm going to tell you, you're going to make at least $10,000 more in the next 12 months. I promise. Promise. You might think that that's not a lot, but it is by just implementing one piece, which is this. 2 emails. I said one piece. So let me redact that. 2 pieces. One is the close your account email. At the end of the process where you've been ignored, basically, you haven't gotten answers anywhere, send a close your account email, which is kind of a cheeky email like, hey, so far I've done all the talking. Honestly, getting a little bit worried. Want to make sure you're doing okay. Did you fall off a roof? Did you fall down? Like anything like that's kind of cheeky and funny. Let me know if you're interested in this X prospecting offer. Let me know if you're interested. If not, no worries. Just let me know and I won't answer you. I'll close your account and won't message you again.
Here's what's crazy, by the way. Here's what's absolutely crazy. The second you said close down my account, I'm missing out on something. And human beings only move when they're missing out on something. That's it. They only move. And all marketing in the world is like, it's limited time offer. Act now. QVC, billion-dollar company built on limited supply only, right? Yeah. Like you have to tell people you're going to take action and they're going to miss out. And they're like, fine, right?
This is the last time, because here's what happens on the other end, right? So let's say I'm prospecting to Jeff, and Jeff doesn't know me, but I'm reaching out to him, and I've reached out on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and everywhere, and maybe he's seen it, maybe he hasn't. But here's what happens in the reality. I don't know this, but this is what reality is. I'm making up the scenario. Jeff was on the toilet and saw an email from me. He was just busy, so he couldn't do it. So he like marked it flagged, right? He saw the Facebook message and then remembered about the email the next day, but was like, I just don't have the time. And then a bunch of things happened, didn't see anything else. Mm-hmm. Then he gets an email that says, close your account. And he's like, what is this? Oh, I forgot about this guy. Yeah. That's the idea behind it, right? You don't control what the person is doing on the other end. The reality is they have lots of responsibilities, but you have to remember this very important keynote that I'll share here, which is the client, the prospect, is your responsibility, not the other way around. It's not their responsibility to answer you. It's your responsibility to get that response. Close your account's a really good method to do it. The last email that I send, even after the close your account, is always a feedback email. And the feedback email is like, hey, look, I'm going to be honest. I'm bummed that you didn't take the offer. It's okay. Totally understand. All I'm asking you to do is give me 10 seconds of your time. Write me back a 1-sentence email of what I could have done to win your business or intrigue you further. It's very powerful. You'll probably get a lot of people not answer you, but even if you get 1, 2 a month, you create so much value. I remember one that I got from a client that I worked with, and he like sent me this, and it's actually in my automations too. So like if anyone goes through my automations, it's the last email. It's my feedback email, and I get emails about it probably like 2 a month, I would say, which is pretty solid. But I remember one really well that came back and it was just like this whole story. He's like, here's why I didn't book a call. Here's why I didn't purchase, like all this stuff. And he had his signature on the bottom with his phone number. And I called him right away. Picks up the phone. He's like, I honestly can't believe you called me. I'm astonished, right? I can't believe it. I'm like, dude, everything you told me, like, this is exactly what I do. Like, let me help you, please. He purchased later that day. Now, I'm not suggesting that the feedback email is made for purchases. It's honestly not. It's made for really valuable insight from your audience where people want to help people who want to help themselves. One of my most powerful stories I can share, Chris Rock in LA, okay? Chris Rock, very famous comedian in LA, gets his car broken down, gets pushed to the side of the road, waving people down. Chris Rock, no one stops. No one gives a shit about Chris Rock. It's like, well, whatever, guess I have to do this. Throws the car into neutral and starts pushing. What happens immediately thereafter? Other people help. Why? People want to help people who want to help themselves. That's what human beings are. So when you ask for that, then that's what happened. Jeff, I have a rule in my business, and this is probably not the best to share on a live, but I'm going to be real with you. If someone asks me for something, I'll never be offended as long as you ask. But it really hurts me if someone comes back to me 6 months later, like, man, I was going to ask you if you can hook me up with this deal to help me out. Like, why the hell did you just ask? Just freaking ask. I'm running the business. It's my choice. Just ask. Like, to just be real for a second, like really, like actually, like legitimate. Someone booked a call with me the other day and commented that their wife passed away. Right? It's just, that's fucking heartbreaking. I called the guy. I'm like, dude, I'm just gonna give you my course. Like, please, like, it's okay. Like, just do what you got to do. Like, make some money and we can work later together when you're right. Like, that doesn't hurt me anyway. Just like it doesn't hurt you in any way. But like, my whole mission in this is to create impact and help people. That's proof right there. That's what I'm trying to do. But if you don't ask, I can't do anything. And I think people get too scared that like they'll offend me, you, anyone. But you don't know. You just have to ask. And even if you did offend me, fuck me then. Then I'm an asshole. Like, I can't handle a question. Like, right, big deal. You know? Yeah, maybe it's not insightful to be like, hey, Jeff, do you mind giving me 10 hours of free consulting? Jeff's going to say no. But you still asked. He also might think, asshole, but who cares? Yeah, you still ask. That's the point. That's where I'm at. So where are we at here? We have two more pieces.
Yeah, close your account email and then feedback, and then there's one last thing, and then we're going to bring this sucker to a close.
Yeah. So wait, say that again. We're going to bring it back to what?
So we're going to bring it to a close, like do the strategy session, call, all that fun stuff.
Yes. So then those are the pieces of the outreach and message sequence, kind of the carpet bomb, the close your account email, the feedback email. Then we've got 2 pieces to finish off the stages, tracking and pipeline. So the tracking and pipeline that I use, I don't think I can share my screen on BeLive. but that's okay. No worries. I'll just express it. So basically, what I have is as follows. I put this in ActiveCampaign and also in Prospecting in a Box system, which is Close.io. Here's the process, okay? Number one is lead, no call booked. This is just where you dump all the leads in that you start with. I do about 50 leads per day. That's my recommendation. 50 leads per week, excuse me. That's my recommendation. So 10 per day or so. Any more than that, you will be way overwhelmed. 2, lead sales call booked. 3, committed, not paid, or proposal sent. 4, payment collected. 5, onboarding and kickoff. The onboarding and kickoff, when you put them in ActiveCampaign or any Pipedrive or anything, hopefully you have an automation that automates onboarding and processes like that. I know, Jeff, you're big on that process too. So that's really valuable. The only optional one I have, and it's more so in my retention automation, but it's fine to have in your prospecting, which would be payment overdue. So when you put them in there, they can get an automated email. That one's kind of, to be honest, like old fashioned, because there's certain like tools, like if you use Stripe, that do automated messages for you anyways. So you don't really need it. So I would prefer that anyhow, but it's just there. So just a note. So that would be the tracking pipeline. If you're not tracking prospecting, don't even bother trying, because you can't be successful. It's impossible. It's literally impossible. That's why I use Close.io, the CRM, and the Prospecting in a Box system. I think I showed it to you, Jeff, last time. I'm not sure. But maybe when I come down and we do the interview in your office, maybe I can showcase it.
Oh, he's gone. Did his internet just get cut out? Hold on. His internet just left. Oh, this is the interview now. It's the Jeff show. That's so funny. Okay, wait, hold on.
Oh man, I'm so sorry. Does it start a new live?
No, you just disappeared. Did you click a button?
I pressed X because I was trying to press next to the tab. The tabs are so small. Fuck. My bad, y'all. Oh,
okay.
Man.
All right, hold on. You were on a roll. Can you recover it? I don't remember what you're talking about. Close.io or something?
Yeah, so Prospecting in a Box. All right. So anyways, what I was saying was when I come into your office, when we do the interview, maybe next month, I'll do a showcase of the system so everyone can see it and kind of utilize it themselves.
Very cool.
So the last piece here is just carpet bomb follow-up. So what's the difference between the sequence and follow-up? So there's a very different sequence. The sequence of initial prospecting that I was talking about earlier in the step 2 of the 5 stages, very, very important that we understand this critically. The difference is that once someone answers the prospecting or nurture offer, you're done with the education portion. Now you're moved into the follow-up after they've agreed to the call. So this is what I call warm-up process. So before you have a call, ideally you book no calls later than 7 days. I think that's a huge mistake people do. They book calls in 2 weeks that people do not remember. 7 days or less. If it's 7 days, I have a 4 email sequence. 4 email sequence is first confirmation, then an agenda of what's going to happen. So here's what your requirements, here's what you can expect. Usually here's your requirements is you don't have to do anything. That's the value of it. Or hey, take 5 minutes to do this assessment. So they do a qualifying application for you, which is crazy valuable to have when you're doing outbound prospecting. It's amazing. You're like, hey, do this 5-minute assessment so I can help you out a little bit better. And then boom, there you go, right? So that's option 1. Then the other piece of it would be like a 24-hour reminder email. And then the day of, you reminder email and you call them, or a team member. If you have another team member, it's really valuable for positioning. Like, hey, you have a call with Jeff today? Like, oh yeah. Now they think your team's all this big shit. It's pretty dope. So that's my follow-up carpet bomb model. It's really valuable. It's also on the opposite end when they say no to you, circling back. So this comes down to the sales. Jeff, how are you doing on time in terms of this?
So we've got about like 6 minutes left, and then we're going to bring it to a close. Yeah.
Cool. So I'll briefly explain the sales process before we leave, I promise. And this kind of makes sense to it. So the follow-up, right? If someone says no to you on a sales call, this kind of naturally brings it into the sales engagement. There's 3 things you have to know in sales. Where are you now? Where do you want to be? What's the obstacle holding you back, right? Yep. So those 3 things, if you know those obstacles and you understand it, that's all you need to sell. The problem is sometimes you can't get them to sell it on the first call.
That's right? So funny. Like, I just wrote a big check to some dude, and that's exactly what he asked me. Like, derivatives of those questions, I was like, the thing holding me back as a webinar is like, great, that's what I can teach you. I was like, oh, here's a check. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So one of the real values here is understanding how follow-up also works. So if I had a call with Jeff, and Jeff, for example, so Jeff, right now you have 10 clients. You'd like to get to 20. You'd like to double your business. And ultimately, the obstacle that's holding you back is you just don't have an inbound webinar in order to quickly scale that up in a systemized version. Are we on the same page?
Bingo.
Great. Okay. And then you make your offer. And if they say yes or no, that's up to him. Let's say Jeff says no. We circle back with Jeff in 30, 60, or 90 days and say, hey, Jeff, prospecting offered again on a call. Let's review your system and see where you're at, or your inbound funnel that you made yourself. Because obviously there's some reason.
That's so painful. Oh God, that's so beautiful.
But
when you do that, I have to admit that I can't get it done and I need help.
Oh yeah, of course, no doubt.
Beautiful.
So basically when you circle back with them, here's the real value. So let's say now we're 30 or 60 days later and we get back on a call with Jeff, like, hey Jeff, in our last conversation, you decided not to go with this because of X, Y, and Z, lay it out. But here's where you were, where you wanted to be, and the obstacle is holding you back. Where do you stand now? The golden information that you're looking for at that moment is for them to say, oh, still in the same place, man.
Yep.
Still in the same place. And you empathize. You say, brother, I get it, man. I know sometimes it's hard to make these decisions and movements in your business, but that's why I wanted to help you, 30 or 60 days ago. Here's the reality, okay? You have two choices. You can take the leap that you refused to take earlier and realize that this is the system that can help you, because we can, and we've helped other people since then. Or, frankly, I can circle back with you again in 30, 60, or 90 days, and I'm probably going to be in the same spot, and I don't think you'd dispute it this time.
Yeah.
When you use that, it's almost impossible not to sell. It's extremely powerful. So that's the key crux of the Carpet Bomb follow-up, to understand that process. Does that make sense?
Beautiful.
Awesome.
So we've gone over through a lot of information, just for the 2 or 3 things that you guys have listened to or heard about, whether it's the Carpet Bomb follow-up or the feedback email or any of the things that we discussed. You can probably just use this and make an extra $10,000 this coming year, either by just charging more or using that to get a client interested in paying you money. And for everybody watching, we're going to be doing a strategy session. So Alex has agreed to 3 15-minute strategy sessions to 3 people who hashtag #AlexMyFace. So just type hashtag #AlexMyFace. I don't know. At first it was but, and then it was face. I don't know. We're figuring it out. But hashtag #AlexMyFace, and I'll introduce 3 of you to get a one-on-one time with Alex to figure out the best next steps, whether it's to go into more detail in these follow-up emails or how to get clients results, things like that. And also in the intermediate, I do want to say it's always really, really cool talking to you. You're only 3 hours away or so. But every time I have a chat with you, I'm like, oh God, I should be doing that. Why am I not doing that type of relationship? And so it's always, and Andrew speaks really, really highly of you too. So it always,
I appreciate it. And I love Andrew and I love you. And I think I just want to say before we leave today, because I think this is so critically important. And I know what you're saying is in a joking manner, but I always love ending on a really powerful note, especially this. Entrepreneurship's fucking hard. All right. Just start with that. It's not easy. No one is ever expressing it to be easy, but also what doesn't help is just beating yourself over the head. I tell this, what I'm saying to Jeff right now and to you guys, because I need to hear it too, because I'm also a human being. I'm not a robot, just like Jeff is not. We're running a business. We get stressed. We have anxiety. We make mistakes. We try to help people. It's the same thing. We get it. Okay. Yeah. We get it. So here's the thing. I love this lesson that I learned. I actually learned it from Brad Newman. So I do want to give him a shout out because it really helped me a lot when I needed it a couple years ago. And the idea behind it is this: put down the bat that you keep taking out of your back, Jeff, and beating yourself over the head with because you're not doing it the way you want to, and pick up the feather and recognize and caress yourself how much progress you're actually making. Yeah. Because I know that you are, and I know the people watching you are too. And if you keep beating yourself up, I think it's pretty much impossible to expect that we'll get any higher up. I think that's valuable to say. Fair
enough. It's been great talking with you, Alex. For everybody who already hashtag #AlexMyFace, drop them in there, and then Alex will pick 3 people. So just if you missed your shot, just drop it in there, and Alex and I are going to figure out who to connect you with. Alex, but it's been an absolute pleasure. Do not hang up. I'm just going to end the broadcast. Everyone, this has been Alex Schlinsky talking about how, there we go. First time, right?
Nailed it.
Talking about his journey from going from psychology to journalism to Miami Dolphins to 10K to 0K back to 10K. Selling about $500,000 worth of stuff, taking home just about half of that. And now he teaches and all that fun stuff and the prospecting on demand process. So that's it. Everyone say goodbye. Alex, say bye. Don't hang up. See you later.